Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a multifaceted, highly ambitious blueprint designed to modernize Indian agriculture and completely transform the lives of hundreds of millions of people. When we talk about farming in India, we aren't just talking about an industry. We are talking about the literal lifeblood of an entire nation. The policies, the technologies, and the challenges we're going to cover today impact global food security and the daily survival of countless families.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start by looking at the current crisis, explore the shift to e-agriculture and some incredibly empowering apps, tackle the stubble burning dilemma, see how waste becomes wealth, and end with the blueprint for doubling farmer incomes. Let's get right into it. Section 1. The Indian Agricultural Crisis. To really grasp the solutions we're about to explore, we first need to ground ourselves in the sheer, massive scale of the challenges facing India's agrarian economy. We simply can't talk about the future without taking an honest look at the present. Now, check out this staggering number. 85%. 85% of Indian farmers are small, marginal, or totally landless. To put that into perspective, we're talking about a population larger than many entire countries, all trying to make a living on tiny plots of land, or sometimes no land of their own at all. They are entirely at the mercy of the weather, volatile markets, and desperately low yearly incomes. And here is why that matters so much. Over half of India's entire population relies entirely on agriculture to survive. So when crops fail, it has devastating, cascading consequences. We've actually seen a tragic rise in farmer suicides dramatically linked to agricultural losses and extreme financial distress. This reality literally pushes previous national strategies, which mostly just focused on producing enough food, into a totally new era. An era where urgent farmer welfare and establishing genuine income equality are absolutely paramount.
Moving on to Section 2, e-agriculture and the digital shift. So, we've identified the massive hurdles. The question is, how on earth do you reach millions of spread out, marginal farmers? Well, the answer lies in information technology.
Enter e-agriculture, or e-krishi. This is basically a catch-all term for bridging that massive information gap between an isolated farming field and the hyper-complex agricultural market using modern tech. We're talking about the whole shebang here. Everything from satellite communication to simple mobile apps that beam life-saving, crop-saving info straight into a farmer's hand.
And bridging that gap, it's a total game changer. By providing timely data, we massively empower a farmer's real-time decision-making. It boosts their skills, bumps up their productivity, and ultimately makes their whole operation more sustainable and cost-effective. It's not just about local survival anymore. It's about giving them the tools to connect with governance and actually compete on a global scale. Section 3. Apps empowering the farmer. Now, talking about satellites is great, but what does this mean for a farmer actually standing out in the dirt, trying to figure out what to plant and when to sell? It's all about putting power directly into their pockets.
Just look at this rapid-fire tech showcase. We've got eNAM, creating one unified national market for agricultural commodities. Then there's the AgriMarket app, specifically built to beam real-time crop prices to farmers so they aren't forced into devastating distress sales. Add in SeedNet for info on quality seeds, and Kisan Call Centres, where farmers can literally just call up and get expert answers in their own local dialects. Pretty amazing, right?
But let's be real for a second and look at the whole picture. What good is a fancy smartphone app if you don't know how to use it, or if you don't have cell service? Here's the friction on the ground. On one hand, you have a profound lack of digital infrastructure. And on the other hand, even when farmers do have access to phones, there's often a deep hesitancy to use them. They might just fall back on hiring traditional middlemen, who unfortunately can completely stifle direct communication and just eat away at their already thin profits.
All right, Section 4. The Stubble Burning Dilemma. Beyond the digital divide, there is a totally different kind of beast to tackle. A massive environmental and logistical nightmare that descends upon northern India every single winter. This brings us to stubble burning, or parali jalana. Every winter kicks off with ominous news reports of dangerously high, choking air pollution. The culprit? The widespread burning of leftover paddy stubble. Basically, farmers are setting their fields on fire just to clear out the crop residue from the last harvest. So, that begs the question. If everybody knows it causes this severe, toxic air pollution that affects millions across multiple states, why do farmers keep doing it?
The core answer? Time. It's a race against the clock. Farmers in northern India have an incredibly brief transition window to clear their fields and plant the upcoming winter rabi crop. If they're late by even a tiny margin, they could face catastrophic financial losses. Because of this intense time pressure, striking a match and burning the field remains the absolute cheapest and quickest option they have.
Which naturally leads us to Section 5, turning waste into wealth. If a lack of time and money are the driving forces behind this pollution, then the solutions have to address both. The government realized they needed real business models here. The goal is literally turning an environmental disaster into an economic gold mine. And the financial upside is actually wild. When that crop residue is kept in the ecosystem instead of being burned, the soil becomes way more fertile. This directly translates to savings. A farmer can save roughly 2,000 rupees per hectare on manure costs alone just by managing their waste better. So how do we do it? Well, you bring in modern machinery, things like the happy seeder, the rotavator, or a baler to manage the residue right on the farm. Then you ensure an adequate supply chain by building biomass depots. And here is the coolest part. There are schemes designed to extract direct economic value from this waste by converting it into compressed biogas, or CBG. All of a sudden, this toxic waste is completely transformed into a highly valuable energy resource.
Of course, you need top-tier science to make all this accessible. Take the biotech Kisan initiative, launched back in 2017. It's a brilliant, farmer-centric strategy. Instead of scientists sitting in a lab guessing, they directly connect with the local situation. They look at the specific soil, water, and market challenges on a farm and craft easy, scientific solutions with the farmers, not just for them.
Finally, Section 6, Blueprint for Doubling Incomes. We've zoomed in on the apps in the farmer's pocket and the stubble in the fields. So now let's zoom out to the big national vision, tying this whole thing together. This is the ultimate monumental goal. Back in the 2016-2017 annual budget, the government set a target to actually double farmers' incomes by 2022. Remember, half the country relies on this for survival. Pulling this off in such a short time frame is an unprecedented mammoth task for policymakers and scientists. It's not just about growing more food, it's about fundamentally elevating the financial reality of the farming family.
To get there, NITI Aayog laid out a very clear 4-point action plan. Number 1, reform the market structure to guarantee better, more remunerative prices. Number 2, aggressively boost productivity on the farm. Number 3, overhaul the overarching agricultural policies. And number 4, implement immediate and effective relief measures for when things inevitably go wrong. And these aren't just empty promises. They translate into real, tangible relief schemes. You've got programs focused on increasing output and managing soil health. Plus, and this is absolutely crucial, there is now vital crop and income insurance, like the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. All of these weave together to build a reliable safety net, meaning farmers can finally invest without the terrifying fear of total financial ruin.
When experts look at this whole ecosystem, they make a bold prediction. They believe that if we can seamlessly weave together this new digital tech, the waste-to-wealth environmental programs, and these strong policy solutions, we won't just solve today's crisis. We are literally going to trigger a massive structural leap forward, ushering in a brand new green revolution driven entirely by data, efficiency, and sustainability. So, as we wrap up this explainer, we're left with a profound question. We've seen the blueprint, we have the tools, and the sheer necessity is crystal clear. But will overcoming the real digital divide and breaking away from those traditional middlemen happen fast enough? Is this technology the ultimate seed that will secure true, lasting prosperity for the next generation of Indian farmers? The roadmap is drawn for sure, but the journey of execution is what will ultimately shape the future of the nation. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep questioning the world around you.